Hi, Mbulelo Maikana here from Contemporary Conversations and Mbulelo Conversations. Please join us by subscribing on some of our packages that exist on mbulelo.co.za. I'm talking about subscription packages. There are several that are there. You can choose the one that resonates with your needs and things that, or a package that you think will cover what you're interested in knowing and participating in life. They are fairly affordable. Please join us by subscribing. Mbolelo.co.za. That's where you'll get those subscription packages. What I want to talk about today is something that has been bothering me because I had a brief discussion with, two people uh, where they were talking about the fact that there are certain things that need to be removed in terms of relationships. And one of them is a removal of the sense of duty that we have towards each other when we are in relationships. And I started asking questions then that what's the point then of getting into a relationship if there will not be a sense of duty towards each other? And I then I asked the question as to, but what is a sense of duty? Why do I get into a relationship with you? Or why does a person get into a relationship? And also vice versa. And I've always maintained that when people get into a relationship, they get into a relationship because of their own selfish interests. There's something that they want from the relationship that possibly they don't have on their own, and therefore they want from that person. Now, it varies, if you are a man, it will be right at the beginning, sexual intimacy. And then later on is, the man gets to know the woman and is happy with the female in his life, companionship then and peace. And finally, perhaps, continuing his legacy, with the female assisting him in terms of being able to sort of bring, young ones in terms of the family. So these are then things that, for instance, a male would need or would probably get into a relationship and say, "These are my interests. This is why I'm getting into this relationship." And the female, on the other hand, would maybe have some similarities in terms of what I'm saying, but would obviously have things that are different in terms of the man, which includes, like, for instance, I want to be in a relationship with someone that I can be able to admire and respect, and someone who can be able to provide, someone that can provide leadership and inspire and be able to sort of keep the family together and love me. Those are the things. So that those will be the selfish interests on the part of the female that would want to get into a relationship with the male. So from this selfish interest, therefore, that we have in terms of wanting to get into a relationship, then we get a sense of duty that once I have been able to sort of explain to you as to why I want to be in a relationship with you, and you've also explained as to why you want to be in a relationship with me, then there's a sense of duty on both parties in terms of ensuring that these parties, both of them, keep to their end of the bargain in terms of saying, okay, this is what you're looking for, then this is what I'm going to do for you because this is what you are looking for in terms of the relationship. And the other person also does the same. There isn't a person that gets into a relationship for the sake of the other person. We're always driven by our own selfish interests. And therefore, when people are going to start saying, the sense of duty needs to be taken out in terms of a relationship. I then often wonder, what is the relationship there for if it doesn't have as its foundation a sense of duty in terms of what has brought us together and the reasons why a particular person in the relationship wanted to be in a relationship with you in the first instance. And I think one of the things that has done harm in terms of what thinking about relationships is all these narratives that have sort of been peddled by certain brigades in terms of our society. Let me give an example in terms of this sense of duty thing so that you can understand it. Now, in this discussion that I had with these people, they were talking about, why, what would make different situations around sexual intimacy, you know, result in women, being okay with getting into sexual acts. And they're giving examples like, prostitutes, why they would actually do that is for money, and for concubines, this is for this and all this stuff. And they, however, had a problem with women that are in relationships engaging in sexual intimacy as a sense of duty to her partner or her husband. And I asked myself, what is different? Because if that's what the husband requires and is not abusive towards you, but is saying, part of why I actually, you know, left everyone else and decided that you, the person that I'm going to spend my life with, is because I want you alone to be the person that I have sexual intimacy with, then is it wrong, therefore, for you to see as your duty to satisfy that sexual intimacy? The same way, for instance, if you as a female, you have a desire for sexual intimacy, is it not the duty of the man to actually satisfy that sexual desire, even if he's not in the mood for actual sexual intimacy? Because that's what you decided on, that you're not going to be looking at other men. He's the one that you're going to dedicate your life to. And this is why I sometimes have this problem with some of the double standards that happen in terms of some of these narratives that are peddled by um, certain brigades, and then you have people within the society that lap up these narratives that are highly idealistic and devoid of reality and the truth in terms of what we need in terms of relationships. If a husband has got a duty to his wife in terms of satisfying her needs, or a boyfriend for that matter, all the needs that she has, and she has made it clear that these are my needs, what is wrong then in terms of the female having also a sense of duty to satisfy the needs of her husband or boyfriend, if the boyfriend or the husband has clearly stated his or his needs in terms of the relationship, which also includes sexual intimacy? Why is it wrong to actually have a situation where a female sees that as sees having or giving her partner or husband sexual intimacy a sense of duty? What is wrong with that? Because I'm not talking about a situation wherein he's going to rape her, he's going to, manhandle her into a sexual act and all the stuff. I'm talking about a situation wherein he's going to say, it's your duty to actually ensure that I'm satisfied, sexually. Let's talk about that. What is wrong with him saying that? If a female says that to a man, why is it acceptable when a female says, it's your duty as a man to make sure that I'm well catered for in terms of the things that I need? That also would include sexual intimacy, that you need to ensure that I'm satisfied. Then a man sees that as his duty to actually make sure that he does things that are going to satisfy you as a female. Why is it wrong then for a female to see you know, providing sexual intimacy as as a sense of duty to a husband or a boyfriend? What is wrong with that? Have we gone too far in terms of, you know, ingesting some of these destructive, you know, highly idealistic narratives, such that sometimes we do not think about whether certain things that we hear make sense or not, and we just let them out and up then we then start spreading them, influencing people negatively in terms of what is supposed to happen in terms of relationships, such that relationships break because of some of the nonsensical thoughts that we have. Once you get into a relationship with someone, there is already an implied sense of duty that you have towards that person. If you do not want that, then don't get into a relationship. because you don't get into a relationship just to satisfy your own needs only. You also need to you have a duty to the person that you are in a relationship with. So we can't have a situation wherein we become too idealistic such that we do not really think properly about some of the things that we actually put in our heads and believe that this is how life is supposed to be. We have a duty towards each other the minute that we get into a relationship. And I'm open to people, coming maybe with different view to from what I'm saying, but that's my take. People should not get into relationships if they do not want a sense of duty to the other person. Stay by yourself. Don't bother, getting into a relationship with someone and pretending as if you agree to, that sense of duty that comes with being in a relationship, including sexual intimacy. Thank you.